share this. I always hear people say, share. So I want to ask you to share this program. And you're welcome here on your tune into Oasis FM on 89.8, the station that brings living waters of Jesus Christ to the nation of the world. My name is Sam Victorious and I'm your host on the program. Yes, you can. For the next 3 hours, 2 hours until 12 o'clock, you'll be listening to some beautiful music, interesting conversation. I've got a lovely guest with me this morning and I'm going to introduce her now. I think you've heard her before and I think you've seen her before, but just for the sake of getting to know the real Vicky, I want to welcome you. Vicky, thank you so much for coming on and thank you so much for being with us and thank you so much for that you come to the invitation, because I'm like, I've seen you with the encounter evenings and I just thought, you've got a testimony. After I've read your link that you sent me, I thought, wow, I just think people should know the real one and get your testimony, because I'm like so excited about you. I'm so excited to see what God's doing in you, but also through you, because nothing happens to us just because it happens, So welcome.
Thank you, Sandra. It's such a privilege to be here this morning. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, when you contact no, we don't think so. We're not sure. So at the age of 2, I wasn't speaking. So that's when my parents realized something's wrong. And so I had a fever when I was 6 months old.
Yeah.
And we
you had fever?
I had a fever, yes.
Okay.
So usually when babies are born in the hospital, they do a hearing test.
Yeah.
And I passed that test. So we don't think I was born deaf. We think it was because of the fever that I had when I was 6 months old.
Okay.
And at the age of 2, I wasn't speaking.
Now
and
for
so
a girl, that is difficult, for a girl. Because our girls start to speak before boys do, no?
Yes, yeah. And my family loves to speak. They love to speak and they communicate and they're very loud. And so it was very strange, but I was a very busy girl. I was very busy. I was always doing something.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it took my parents a while to realize that there's something not right.
Yeah.
And it was actually my grandmother who noticed that something was wrong.
Yeah.
And so I'm very grateful to my family.
I love the role of grandmothers in people's lives. I've heard so many testimonies of people that say, I had a grandmother that prayed for me.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, my grandmother was on fire. She was really on fire for the Lord. And she actually passed away 2 years ago. And she was one of God's generals.
Yeah.
That's who she was, yes. And so I'm very grateful. She made a lot of difference in my life. And so she was one of my closest friends when I was growing up. And so my grandmother...
You had a language also in between the two of you, if you were close.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
I think I was her favorite grandchild.
Me and my grandmother too.
Yes, and I was the only blue-eyed grandchild that she had, and she also had blue eyes.
Okay.
So that made me extra special because of my blue eyes. Yes.
And so what then?
Yes, so my parents took me to the hospital and they did hearing test and they found out that I had 97% hearing loss. 97%, so that's like completely deaf.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And it was a shock for my parents. But my parents always had that mindset of don't look at how big the problem is, look at how big God is.
Amen.
Yes, and so my parents decided that they're going to dream big for the child. And someone actually said to me the other day that I've been a pioneer all my life.
Yeah.
And it's so true because so at the age of 2 I got hearing aids. and it brought my hearing up to 50%. So it was already a miracle. I wasn't supposed to be able to hear with hearing aids. And so my parents put me in a hearing school. I learned how to speak like a hearing person. And so I was a pioneer. All the while I had to break the wind open for other people with hearing loss to follow me. And so yes, so I learned how to speak. So Afrikaans is my home language. And I went to an English school. And that was also pioneering in itself. Because usually people with the amount of hearing loss that I have, they don't learn a second language. So I learned second language. I went to a hearing school, and so I had to do all kinds of barrier breaking stuff. And there were people that said to my parents, but this is child abuse. You shouldn't be doing this to your child. She should go to a day school and learn sign language. But my parents decided to dream big. And I always went back to what God was saying. What is God saying about this? What is God's dream for this girl's life? And so God is so big and the problem is so small.
I love this. And so, because you didn't go to a deaf school, you didn't learn sign language?
No, I didn't. No, it was only way later after I won Miss Deaf South Africa. I was in a drama play, and I don't know if you know Children of the Lesser God. Children of the Lesser God with Maureen Madeline. She won an Oscar with that movie, and so it was adapted into an Afrikaans play. And I was chosen to play the leading role in this play, and it was opposite an actor from Siebengalon, Jaimias, so he played Never Mind This. Never Mind This in Siebengalon.
He's very involved now with Angus Buchan and...
okay, that's possible. Yes.
Yeah, the latest one that was here about 2 weeks ago.
I didn't know. Okay.
Mighty Men.
Mighty Men.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so he's incredible. It was an honor to play opposite him. I learned so much from him. He's such a man of integrity. And yes, and so I played opposite him, and I had to learn sign language for the first time because my role that I played was a deaf girl who didn't want to speak. She refused to speak. And so she could only speak sign language, and then Jaime, she was opposite me. He was a speech therapist at the deaf school. So it's almost sort of like a love story, but it's about these two worlds colliding, the deaf world and the hearing world. And so I played in this play, and I had to learn to speak sign language for the first time. Yes, and it's actually beautiful. Sign language is so beautiful.
Don't you think that people should be made aware more by using media, by using like a movie like that? Don't you think we should reach out and get more movies on air, on screen, to make people aware? Because if you don't know a deaf person, you don't know their struggles, you don't know their challenges, you don't know. I mean, you were in a privileged position not...
Yes.
I'm saying not to be in a deaf school, so you go the normal way, if I can call it. I just think, because I've got a friend whose parents were, the mother still alive, and her brother is a pastor in Victoria, Dirk Venter, and he's got a deaf congregation. He's not deaf.
Is it Dirk?
Yeah.
Dirk Venter.
His sister and I, Elizabeth, we're very close friends.
Wow.
And she's also he would be preaching and she would be doing the sign language.
Yes, so Dirk Venter was one of the interpreters at the Miss Deaf South Africa competition. That's how I know him. Yes, so he's incredible.
Oh, yes, they are. Yeah, he's an amazing man of God and a sense of humor and somebody who loves fun and so. Because, you know what, it's for me an opening, it's a revelation what we are busy talking about, because I just think there's more people that needs to know more about the life of people with some other form of ability.
Yes, actually the Oscars was recently, and the movie that won the best picture for this year was a movie about a deaf family. I'm actually thinking, I think they won the best picture.
Sure.
Yes, and Molly Matthew is also in this movie, and it's about a deaf family, but they have one girl who is hearing, and she wants to become a singer. So I actually want to watch this movie, and so it's about the tension between this girl, she wants to become a singer, and she's in this family of deaf people who can't hear music. And so it actually won an Oscar, so I think people are becoming more and more aware, definitely. Yes, but I think there's lots of different degrees of hearing loss.
Yeah.
So you get the deaf people who don't want to learn how to speak like a hearing person, and they are happy with their sign language.
Yeah.
And then you get the ones that are like me. I grew up in a hearing family. So for me to communicate with my family, I had to learn how to speak like a hearing person, and I had to live it.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of advances being made with technology.
Yeah.
And so I actually have my cochlear implants.
Yes.
In 2013 and in 2015.
Yeah.
And so it brought my hearing up to 80%,
Yes.
80%, 80%.
Yes.
So it doubled my hearing.
Sure.
And so I think there's a lot of advances being made with the technology. So I think probably that's why people don't really see the deaf people anymore. Because a lot of people are getting the implants.
Yeah.
And they are going to a hearing school now, and they are learning how to speak like a hearing person. So I think the deaf people that speak sign language, they are becoming like the minority. The group is becoming smaller and smaller, while a lot of deaf people are learning how to function in the hearing world.
Yeah.
So I think things are probably changing. I don't know. I have no idea.
It's just so interesting to me, and I mean my heart is really full, because I also feel that there had to come a level of commitment from your side. It's not just something that landed in your lap, because my program is Yes You Can, and the Word of God says in Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So from your part is that, Lord, I want to do this. I want to overcome this. I want to know more. I've got a brother-in-law that also had this cochlear implants. Last year one, and also the year before. What he found the challenge was that suddenly there was too much noise. He found it because he would always withdraw and go and be busy with cooking or drying or so, and then leave the other people with lots of talking and noise and kids screaming and so. And now he withdraws a bit because he feels like it's just too much, suddenly too much noise. He never heard it. Now he hears all the noise. And you understand. But you grew up with it, so it's not like a sudden, the light wasn't switched on suddenly.
Yes, now, so actually when you get the implants, they switch it on very softly in the beginning, and then
it increases.
It increases.
Yeah.
So, but I think I've always been someone who, it's interesting that you use the word overcome. That's what my name means. It means I'm an overcomer, victorious.
Sure.
It means to be an overcomer, to be victorious.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to talk about, we're going to be playing some music that the Facebook people won't be able to hear because of recording licenses and stuff. But we want to play some music and some ads, and then we will be back with you on Yes You Can. So enjoy the music from Bethel Music. Come Awaken Love. can still hear us talk, but we can't play music, unfortunately.
So sing them a song.
Shall we? I'm ready for anything. And then we will be back. And then the next music that we're going to do is Heroes, our casting crowns. The next part that I'm going to talk to you about is that where you accept Jesus and what difference that make your spiritual journey.
No problem.
I love this, eh? Let's share. I want to just quickly go on my Facebook and share it.
Ons het al 15 minute gepraat.
Dan brengt 15 minuten. Share. Okay, I'm going to put your name on.
Ja, ek het page, maar ja, ek sal kyk. Ek sal dit ook share op my page, ja.
You will see it because I am post.
Ja, dan is baie oulik met die tegnologie, die social media. Dan het dit goed
Ek
werk.
is 'n netwerker, I love. Want ek wil weet wat gedoen met kinders. Moet ek nie hardop sien, hulle gaan dit ook sien. So we're going to share this on see it stop. So ek sien jy. Maar lyk nie of hy getag is nie. Ek weet gou check. Edit post.
Moet probeer maar om getag wees, nee. We getag, okay.
Okay, jy's nie op.
Ja, ek weet nie, ek sal net kyk. Want dit tikkie met die I op die einde. Tikkie.
Ek het hom so. Okay, ons gaan nie daarop.
Ag, is alright, ek sal na die tyd kyk. Ja.
Okay, staan. En wat ek doen is, ek gaan dit vir jou op WhatsApp stuur. As mense vir my sê, hulle is te oud. Ons weet nou nie van die goed nie, want ons is dat as het, daar bestaan nie so iets nie. Daar sê ek, ek gaan op jou, so jy kan dit nou na mense stuur. All over the world. Mense wat jou sponsor, mense wat jou...
Ek sal dit deel met almal. Ek sal. Dan is dit.
Ek kan nie musiek laat speel en anders blok Facebook ons.
Met Facebook? Excuse, wat sê dan nie? Moet ons op Facebook deel?
Die musiek. As ek die musiek hardop speel en dit kom op die program, dan blok Facebook die program.
My genade.
Dit gaan oor
ook aan as hy die musiek speel.
Ek het een keer die klank hier op my oorfone gehad en die oorfone was by die speaker.
Ek kan nie gewoon dat hulle kan optel op Facebook nie, dat hulle so kan verstaan.
Monday through Friday, right here on this station. My program is full of practical biblical teaching that will build your faith and equip you to enjoy your life. I love to share God's word with you. It's His word that allows us to have victory in this life right now. His word sets us free. Be sure to listen to Enjoying Everyday Life right here daily so you can be blessed and encouraged.
Kan jy hoor?
Kinders leer baie gou wat hulle ouers se houding teenoor geld is. Daarom is dit uiters belangrik dat ons as ouers 'n gesonde voorbeeld stel wanneer dit kom by geld wat ons spandeer. Goeiedag en baie welkom by Focus on the Family Minute. Nou dat jy weet dat jou kinders jou en jou geld dophou en hoe jy daarmee werk, Hoekom bring julle nie in die
Ek gaan dit nie blok nie, want dit is nie.
Gesels met hulle oor finansies en die kwessie van hoe om 'n goeie rentmeester te wees, hoe om te spaar en hoe om te leef met dit wat aan oor is. Wys aan hulle hoe jy elke maand tyd moet maak en al die rekeninge moet betaal. Jy hoef nie elke jota of titeltjie met hulle te deel nie, maar ten minste genoeg dat hulle kan leer dat geld nie op jou rug groei nie. Dit is 'n baie goeie manier om aan kinders te leer dat dit belangrik is om limite vir jouself te stel. Mens kan nie net onbeperk geld uitgee nie, en jy kan ook nie altyd die nuutste modehuis, denims of tekkies koop nie. Moet ook nie bang wees om aan hulle jou foute wat jy in die verlede gemaak het uit te wys nie. Veral die kere toe jy pynlike skoolgeld vir jou eie
advertensies is betaalde
hulle sal
advertensies.
die eerlik
Met
waardeer.
gespeel word.
Hulle sal ook daarin kan doen. Vir enige verdere inligting of navraag, skakel gerus Focus on the Family by kode 031 716 3300. 031 716 3300.
Ons is terug op die lyn, ons is terug op die lug, ons is terug. And let's do this in English. You are tuned into our Oasis FM on 89.8, the station that brings living waters of Jesus Christ to the nations of the world. It's Tuesday, April the 5th, and it's 10:36, and I'm busy talking to Vicky Fourie, a very special guest for me. Personally, I've been wanting to hear her story. I think I met you last year, just because we were talking about
The encounter evenings, yes.
Then we've started.
It's possible, yes.
Yeah.
I think we had 3 encounter evenings last year.
Yeah. I was the one at the bottom floor, because that evening I saw people with flags. I thought next time I'm going to bring my flags with. And but it didn't then happen. And then,
Okay.
so it's encounter evenings are the last one. I was so blessed, and I want to invite you if you know about the encounter evenings. You're going to do it like once a month, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So you can go on Jeffrey's Bay School of Supernatural Ministry, the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And so we're going to have it once a month. So it's actually an open night. We call it an open night, and then people from outside can come in and join us.
Yes. And have an encounter. But the encounter I want to know about is that, and that is for me a very basic question that I do with everybody. Where did you meet Jesus?
Okay, so actually I think I met him 2 times. 2 times. So the first time, yes, so the first time was when I was born again, and then the second time when I just sort of gave my life to Jesus again. So the first time I was in high school.
Yeah.
So I grew up with both my parents as pastors.
Yeah.
So I grew up in the ministry. I knew everything about the Bible. I was in a Christian school.
Yeah.
So I knew everything. But when I was 14 years old, I was involved in a shooting accident. So I should have died. So one of my friends, it was an accident. She didn't know the gun was loaded, a hunting gun.
Oh my.
And the gun went off, and then the bullet hit me at the back of my shoulder and came out in the front. And so I should have died that day. It was really a miracle that I survived that accident.
Wow.
And so after that, I had depression. I didn't want to live anymore. I felt like all the bad stuff keeps happening to me. You know, I'm the only deaf girl in the school, and now this shooting accident. And so I was...
The enemy used that trauma
Yes.
to strip you from some confidence.
Yes, and so I was about 14 years old. It was after the shooting accident when I was sitting outside during lunch break at my school. And I was sitting outside on the stairs, and I was feeling sorry for myself, and I was having my own pity party, and I didn't have any friends. So I was very lonely. And I was sitting outside, and then I felt someone was sitting next to me. But I couldn't see I couldn't see it, I could just feel that someone was sitting next to me.
Sense of presence.
Yes, and it was just the presence of Jesus, and he was sitting next to me. And I
love stories like this.
Yes. Yes, and so I wanted to commit suicide before that. I was in a very bad place. And so I felt Jesus was sitting next to me, and he was saying to me, I see you. I have a plan and a purpose for your life. But you have to come and you have to find your identity in me.
Yeah.
And so from that day on, I decided that I'm going to build a relationship with Jesus. And so during lunch breaks, when I was lonely and I didn't have anyone to speak with, I had this small devotional book that I always kept in my blazer. And so I would take it out every day and I would just spend time with Jesus, and so that's how I started with my relationship with him.
Sure.
Yes, so it wasn't in a church, it was at school.
But that is actually very special.
Yes, it's very
because
special.
You know what,
yes.
It wasn't like a churchy thing.
No.
Because people can easily land up in church and do the religious thing and not build relationship.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think that was very precious.
Yes, so
because I think Jesus knew that would be different. That would make the difference. Building relationship. Because of your loneliness, then he was your best friend. He was the one that you could go to. Yeah.
Yes.
And then
yes, so that was very special, and so it's interesting because nothing outside of me changed, but something inside of me changed, and that made all the difference. And so
you switch on the light inside.
Yes, people saw the difference.
I love this.
Yes, people actually saw that something was different with me, and in the end, I was head girl of my school. And I the drama competition, I went to America for it. I did dance competition, ballet. So I just started excelling in a lot of stuff because something inside of me changed.
Favor of God.
Yes. Yes.
Before you.
Yes.
And made the way open for you.
Yes. So that was my first time that I really gave my life to Jesus. And then the second time was when I went to Bethel in America. Yes, and
privileged girl.
Yes, and I did BSSM, so it's Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry. And so I thought it was going to be like a Bible school, and so I went for 9 months. But it's not a Bible school. It's a complete renewing of the mind and transformation that takes place. And so that was my second time. Yes. And so I thought I was fine, I thought my life is sorted out and I'm okay. But I didn't realize it then, but I actually had a very religious mindset when it came to my relationship with Jesus. And so I was able to shake it off when I went to Bethel.
Sure.
So that just brought a new level of freedom. And so I feel like that was my second time when I gave my life to Jesus again, because I had to completely flip my life inside out. So that's my story.
But I've seen people coming back from Bethel.
Yes.
And I have a very precious friend. I'm not going to mention her name, but I mean, she's been working for the church, and she's been to Bible school, and and when she got the whole identity thing, and honor.
Yes, honor.
Because I listen to Bethel podcast and Chris Valaton's podcast, and then there's always speakers, and there's this one guy that spoke about honor and how people that made mistakes. He spoke about the second year young people that fell into. She fell pregnant, and how they dealt with that, the students and people, and how they repented, and how the people gathered around them. But the thing of honor, because unfortunately in the church one can easily get hammered if you made a mistake or you don't perform well. Because I personally have been a performer all my life. I mean, I just always want to tick the boxes, and if something's not working, then Lord, what have I done wrong? And I think that is where Bethel, and I know they get a lot of drama. They've got people judging them and criticizing them, but it's because they break open places, deep hurt and deliverance on people, but in a natural way, with the love of God and the way He sees you and how He feels about you. And that in itself for me, I actually want us to speak next week about JSSM, but I want to quickly, because we have about 5 minutes left, just the JSSM, because you know that I wanted to do it, but I just couldn't afford it because it's, never mind, I'm not going to go there. Why JSSM? Why Jeffreys Bay? I know that Jeffreys Bay, there's an open heaven above Jeffreys Bay. I know when I came here in 97, somebody said to me, this is the place of healing waters.
Wow.
And God has done a great amount of healing and restoration in my personal life. And I mean, I come from Rhema, where I was involved in intercession, I was involved in deliverance teams and everything, but God did a different thing in my life here. So I just want to, if you can quickly say, JSSM, why Jeffreys Bay?
So JSSM, Jeffreys Bay School of Supernatural Ministry. So actually 5 years ago, when I came back from Bethel, I wanted to start a JSSM school in Johannesburg. My parents had a big church there, and I was actually sent to America to start it in Johannesburg. But then my dad passed away. And that dream was like swept off the table. And it was my dream. It was actually my mom and my dream. It was our dream. And so when we moved to Jeffreys Bay, I could also feel that there was something here. And it was last year in November where I woke up the one morning and I went to my mom and I said, we have to start a JSSM school in Jeffreys Bay, because there's something there in the atmosphere. And now we realize, but it was no longer our dream, it's now God's dream. And so the whole thing has shifted. And so it's a privilege and an honor, and I can't wait to talk a little bit more about it next week.
I think so. I just want to share with you something. When I was heading intercession a few years ago, there was a man that brought a prophetic word about Jeffreys Bay being a bay, and there was a huge oil tanker, and he had a pipe from the oil tanker to Jeffreys Bay.
Okay.
And that oil.
Yes, I think I know the story. Yes.
And I was thinking about this, was it this morning or yesterday after I spoken to you? And I think, Lord, is that the oil?
Yes.
Because we know the wise maidens and the unwise maidens and the extra oil they had to have, and what the oil represents.
Yes, so I think it was 20 years ago when an airplane flew over Jeffreys Bay and they poured the oil out onto the land. So there was almost nothing here 20 years ago. And so I think that is so beautiful, because it shows that there's something in the ground. And now people are actually seeing fruit trees everywhere in the spirit. So the fruit is ready, it's ripe. The harvest is ready. So it's 20 years ago when the oil was sown into the land, and now we can actually reap the harvest of it. So that's why it's so easy now.
I remember, I've been living here since 97, that's nearly 25 years. And before that, I was living in Clarksburg, that's where I was with Rhema, and the Lord told me to anoint the beach. And so I started at the main beach and walking with grape juice and oil, and broke all the curses, because there's a curse of poverty. You know about the whole curse of poverty on Jeffreys Bay and the Eastern Cape, and then anoint. So I believe that God is bringing all these little things together for the greater purpose, for the kingdom of God. And I'm very excited about the future, and I'm excited about what God has started already and is happening. We're not saying it will happen. It's already continuous tense happening in this area, and I believe strongly for the purposes of God that will prevail. And this morning I was thinking, I want to commend you, but I actually want to honor you as a woman of God, that you've come a long way, but through all of this, God had a purpose, and not only in you, but through you. And I just want to bless you today with all the blessings that there are in Christ Jesus.
Sandra.
I want to just release whatever God has put in you to be that shining light in the times that we are living in. Because people
Thank
need
you, Sandra. I appreciate it and I receive it. Thank you.
You are so welcome. And next week, you must please stay tuned. We're going to be back next week with, we're going to talk about JSSM and what God has in store for this town, this area, the place of healing waters. And I just want to invite you all. And if you know somebody that is today asking, Lord, what is about the future? Lord, I have a disability. Lord, I can't go anywhere. I'm sitting in a wheelchair. I'm in a bed. I cannot do anything. I can't hear. I can't see. I can't feel. Today, please take hope from what God has said today, and is going to continue next week. And I just want to bless everybody that's been listening, everybody that's been connected to us, to Oasis. And next week, 10 o'clock, we will be back and to listen to see what God is going to do. Thank you so much for tuning in. Share this page. Share it to anybody around the world, because we're going to keep on sharing about the goodness of God and the living waters of Jesus Christ to the nations of the world. Thank you so much. God bless.